Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing a quick install on some new StopTech brake lines on my ILX. Let me show you guys really quick. We're doing the front and the rear. You guys can see these are the part numbers for the brake lines. So I want to just swap out the OEM ones. These are pretty good condition, nothing wrong with them. Just want some better functioning lines for track use and something that's going to give me a little bit of better brake pedal feel in those high heat conditions. So we're going to go ahead and swap those out today. I'm going to try to walk you guys through the steps as best as I can, but this is a pretty straightforward install, just like many other brake lines. You got the fitting up there to the hard line, and then usually you're going to see a connection that's part of the strut here for the fronts, and your other connections right here at the caliper. I'm going to go to the rear. Rear is pretty much the same thing too. I already used some PB blaster on these, but you got your hard connection here to the hard line, and I believe this has a connection right here too. And again to the caliper. With the rear, you have to be careful to pay attention to where this bend is. It's specific to the left hand, and the right hand has got a little bit of a different bend with a slight angle to it. So don't get these confused. Make sure you use the right one for the right side. For the front, they're the same. Show you here on the new ones. It's straight forward. You can use either or, I believe, on each side. You can't get them confused. But on the rear, they got a slight bend to it and a little bit of an angle. So you could you got to play it around, make sure you have the right one on the right side. And figured while the car is up in the air, I'm going to do a deep clean on the new wheels. They've been through some heavy brake dust, and since I have them off, I'm going to make sure I clean the back side of it pretty well. Make sure you remove your center caps when you take the car to the track. They will pop out. I'm left with only two. And I know I haven't done a build update in a long time on the car. The last one was about a year ago, and if you've been following the videos, I've made a few DIY videos on the car as far as a few upgrades that I've installed. But in case you haven't watched those, I want to give you a build update on the car while I'm in the middle of installing this mod. And so if you can see, I do have a little bit of an aero kit on here, and this is nothing special. I purchased this on eBay and decided to give their universal kit a try, and that came with this splitter that you can see on here. And it was a pretty easy install. Pretty much used self-tapping screws, and it's on there pretty sturdy. And then we have this side splitter here. This was a 3-piece. You connect it and then you fasten it to the car. I used some double-sided tape and self-tapping screws. And the other one is this piece here on the rear, this little lip. Pretty subtle, but I think it looks pretty awesome on it. And we got the tow hook. I put this a week before going to the track. Figured hopefully I won't need it, but in case I do need to get bailed out, I have something for the pit crew to yank me out of. This is the new exhaust. I did not do an install video on this. So this is the NVIDIA high performance. Let's see if I can zoom in or focus in on a. So I had to increase that cutout from the old, I believe it was the engine axle back. So I had to make that cutout a little bit bigger to accommodate for the bigger tip. And this exhaust is 2 3/4 inch diameter. And let me see if I can get underneath here. This is for a Civic Si sedan. And only reason I went with this because I got a great deal. I was warned it had a very high note and it was a pretty loud exhaust. And indeed it is. For daily driving, it's a little bit much in my opinion. It does sound awesome, so if you're willing to live with the sound, it's a great sounding exhaust and I think you'll enjoy it. But it does drone a lot and it does make some crackle popping during downshifts. So I'll let you decide if you want to deal with that. Let's see, another update on it. I did change the front sway bar bushings with energy suspension. One's 20 millimeter diameter ones for the bar, and I also installed this Megan under brace. This was a pretty easy install, about an hour at most. You do have to cut out the plastic splash shields here to get access to the mounting location. You guys can see that. Pretty easy to make that cut out. And alright, I think the only thing left to show you guys is the strut bar. And we're doing this one take as many of the other videos I've done. We got a few extra things here, but you can see we got the strut bar, the Megan Racing strut bar installed on there, and we've gold foil wrapped the intake pipe. It does make a difference in how hot that pipe got during track use. It made a significant difference. I could actually touch the pipe this time and not burn my hand off. So but you're gonna see here on the hood I also used some gold foil wrap, and that is mainly to protect the line right here for the windshield washer fluid. So you see I don't have the hood lining here. It's removed, and that is because with the strut bar the hood lining prevents the hood from closing down all the way, and it was rubbing really hard against these mounting points. So I had to remove it, and just to protect that line from any damage or any nicks or something happening to it, I use this gold foil wrap to help reduce any temperature exposure. So yeah, it's been slow progress, but we're working on it one mod at a time. And you know, obviously the other big upgrade was the new wheels, and these are 17x8s with a 35 millimeter offset. This was a great investment. And we got new tires, the General G Max RS tires. It's a performance summer tire. It held up okay at the track, but nothing special. I did go with this tire mainly for daily driving usage. Needed something that can perform decent in rain, but also have some good grip. Next year though, when this becomes a full track car, we're gonna have some planning to getting the new Falcon RT66 tires, and I believe that should be awesome at the track from everything I've read and heard online from anybody using those. Interior wise, the car is still pretty much the same. The brown seats have been amazing. Good support around the hips and the back, but around the thighs it's not the best. So most likely going to be selling these once to go with something with more aggressive bolsters around the thigh area, and to help during those high-speed corners. I'm still sliding around a little bit with these seats, so I'd like to get something else. Alright guys, well, that's pretty much it for the updates. I'm gonna give you guys a glimpse of the installed brake lines once I'm done putting them on and bleeding them, of course. Here's a quick comparison of the OE brake line with the StopTech stainless steel braided line. Just made sure it's the same length, which it is, and it comes with new hardware and a new cap for your bleeder valve. So when you're installing this, I highly recommend leaving the reservoir cap closed so the line doesn't drip, but also make sure you don't take this off prior to loosening it. It makes a huge difference for this pipe to sit still while you're trying to undo it. And make sure you clean this up pretty good before using a wrench. You can easily strip it. It's a 10mm one, and open end wrench, you'll strip it. So what I highly recommend is using like a vice grip to get a hold of it really tight, and then turning it. That way it's not gonna slip. I think that's the best way to take it off. I tried with a 10mm and it kept slipping. It slipped twice on me. I said, nah, that's not gonna work. So we used the vice grip. Alright guys, here's a finished install on the front brake line. Secured here, secured here. I believe this is, you hold this down, this is a 17mm, and you screw this back on there and you're all set. And then obviously the connection to the caliper. You have that notch right here as a guide to make sure you have it on right. There you go. And in the end, make sure you bleed your brakes. Yes, there's air in the line, so bleed your brakes. Get somebody to help you pump the pedal, or if you're had a fancy system where you can use air to self bleed, yeah, go ahead and do that. But yeah, there you go. I'll take a quick shot of the rear as well once I install one there, and you guys can see that. Here's a installed rear brake line. Connected here, make sure everything's tight. Don't forget to put this slide pin back on. It's nice and tight. Yeah, it's about pretty much all the slack you're gonna get on the rear. It's not too much, but yeah. Alright guys, hope you have enjoyed this update and this install video. Please make sure to visit back and check out any new content. There's a lot more coming now that this car is not going to be a daily driver anymore. I have a lot more going on, more plans for the car, and this is going to be a pretty fun track car in the end once it's all complete. And hopefully with time more options will be available for this car as far as aftermarket and what's available for install and whatnot.